Today I'm off to somewhere very special, Piel Island, and you can see it just over there on the brow there on the horizon. Now I believe the King of Piel himself is coming to pick me up, so I'm very honoured, and in fact there he is now in that four-wheel drive. I don't know how often the King or the Queen get over to the shops, so I've bought them a basket full of food. Look, a nice packed lunch we can all enjoy today. Well, I'm keen to find out more about the island, and who better to tell me than this chap, Steve Chataway, who's the current landlord of the Ship Inn pub of Piel Island, which means you are the current king, Steve.
I am the king.
Now, should I call you Your Highness or Steve?
Steve's fine.
I
Steve's
think that's
fine.
better,
Yeah,
don't you?
Yeah,
well,
definitely.
look what I bought.
Well, thank you very much.
This is courtesy of us from Flog It.
Makes a change from making my own bread.
How often do you have to make this trip across to the mainland?
This depends how busy the island is and how many stores we go through, how much beer we sell, but 2 or 3 times a week usually.
And are these sands dangerous? I mean, it's very tidal here, isn't it?
Yeah, they can be very dangerous. I wouldn't recommend anybody going across without local knowledge or taking advice first.
So can we jump in and go?
Of course we can. We'll climb aboard.
Piel Island is located just off the Furness Peninsula, a stone's throw away from Barrow-in-Furness. There is evidence of human habitation on the island going back at least 3,000 years, and it was probably visited by the Celts and later the Romans during their conquest of Britain. The island boasts a castle, Piel Castle, which was built around 1327 by the monks that resided at Furness Abbey in Barrow. And it was mainly used as a fortified warehouse for the storage of grain and wool. There is also an inn on Piel Island called the Ship, and though its origins are obscure, it is thought to date back at least 300 years.
Welcome to Piel Island.
Oh, thank you very much. Isn't it lovely? So what brought you over to the island?
Oh, we've been coming over since we were kids.
Yeah.
We just can't keep away from the place. Well, because we sail as well, and so we used to come over every weekend with the yacht and the kids were little. It was fantastic.
You applied for the job of landlord of the pub?
Yes, yeah, we did, yeah.
And how many people applied for that?
There was 300 applicants from all over the world, from Russia, Poland, America. Everybody fancied being a king. And we were fortunate enough to be selected by the local council.
And obviously, with the pub, you inherit the title. How does that work, and why does that work?
In 1487, a chap called Lambert Simnel invaded with 3,000 mercenaries.
Yeah.
With the intention of taking over the throne from Henry V. Mm-hmm. But what happened was, basically, they got trounced at Stoke Fields, and Lambert Simnel was only a young boy at the time. He finished up his time serving in the king's household. But ever since then, it's become a bit of a tradition that the landlord of the pub becomes the King of Piel Island. So we have a crown and we have a sword and a throne.
So how long have you been landlord and king?
We had a coronation last year on September the 13th, but we've actually had the licence for about 3 years, but we've only been trading for 2.
Yeah. Are you enjoying it so far?
Oh, it's absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And it's quirky as well, being a king.
What are your sort of royal duties? What do you have to do?
Well, the royal duties are basically you have to appoint knights. Services to the crown, basically.
Right, okay.
To the crown and the island and the community.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a reward, which is quite a big celebration and party.
Any other duties?
Well, you are entitled to the virtue of any maiden on the island. There's not many of them around.
What does the wife think of that?
You can ask her if you like, she's here.
Come on in, Sheila. I think we're only jesting, aren't we, really?
Well, yes.
So what role do you have to do as the Queen?
I live in Steve's shadow, really. I do all the background work, and Steve's the face of the island.
Well, you are the King and the Queen of the island, so can I have a tour of your kingdom?
Of course you
Come
can.
along here,
Yeah, of course.
Show me around, come on then. Well, tell me a little bit more about the pub, the history of the pub.
The pub goes back to about the 17th century. It originally, as far as we can gather, it was a chandler's, and it sort of progressed, it's evolved into a pub and then into a sort of guest house and hotel.
So how do the visitors get to the island?
Well, they can walk across the sands is one way of doing it. We do guided walks and things, or alternatively they can get the ferry from Roe Island. There's a little 12-person ferry.
Or if you've got your own boat, you can sail here and moor up. The ship inn is currently being refurbished, and when it reopens, it's going to provide accommodation. Conditions on the island are basic, and there is no mains electricity. Instead, a generator is relied upon. This doesn't stop the hordes of campers, though, who come to Piel when the weather is good.
Well, I can see the ruins of the castle over there. Shall we take a look?
Yeah, please do.
One of the major attractions on the island is Piel Castle, which is the most breathtaking of ruins.
Absolutely incredible, isn't it?
It's beautiful.
What does the castle date back to?
It dates back to the 12th century, and it was built by the Cistercians at Furness Abbey.
Yeah.
And it was sort of built as a warehouse and as a secure stronghold originally because of the import, well, the export of wool.
Yeah.
You can imagine, like, the abbots at the time, it was like the local mafia. There was some serious money changing hands, and so they had to build something like this.
You don't expect to see this when you get to the island, do you?
Oh no, and it's a really, really well built castle. It's not been a cheap and nasty affair. It's been a top of the range castle.
This is the Bailey here, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah, we came through the gatehouse. This was actually where I was crowned King of Piel. There was about 2,500 people on this inner bailey, sat on the walls and things. It was absolutely fantastic.
What a ceremony!
Yeah.
What a view!
It's
Well, it is.
awesome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where we come every evening. We sit and see the sunsets and have the odd gin and tonic when everybody's gone home and it's nice and peaceful.
And you think, yes,
This
it
is why we
worth
live here.
it.
Yeah.
It may feel like a bleak outpost of the British Isles, but Piel has a unique charm all of its own, and I can just imagine what it's like on a sunny day.
Thank you so much for showing me around.
You're welcome.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cheers.
I'm
Nice
going to
to
come
meet you, Paul.
back and have a pint when the pub's open.
When it's
Yeah,
hot.
please do.
Yeah.
Please
You're
do.
not sending me back the same way, though, are you?
No, you've got the illustrious John, who's going to take you across
Piel Ferry.
Piel Ferry.
Ferry, yeah.
I'll give it a
Look
go.
after you.
Yeah.
Cheerio.
All right, then, cheers,
Bye.
Paul. Thank you very much.
Good to see you, John.
All right.
I've got my brolly because I feel it's going to pour down with rain.